Okay, so hey, welcome to the second vlog for the garden tour. Hi, Kat. There is a lot of stuff to do today, so yeah, let's get started. So things that I'm gonna have to accomplish today. One, spray down the mushrooms, move some of these seedlings to pots, clear this off so I can get some microgreens started, feed all of these plants, plant a couple of these tomatoes into a Kratky jar, eat these today and refill them. Probably also plant this green pepper. We got it from my boyfriend's parents' garden, so we're gonna plant some green pepper seeds and probably clear off and organize this shelf as well. So why don't we start with the garden tour and make this easy on all of us. Okay, so starting off, we've got some new mushrooms. So these are gonna be Pheonix oyster mushrooms, and I got them from forest floor mushrooms from a local farmer's market yesterday. We went all the way out to Carp, and apparently they should sprout in about a week, which is really exciting, and I just need to mist them a couple times a day. Really, I just got you off the table. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna mist them for some humidity. Oh, that's just the cat, all right. Put them up top again and just wait. So I broke down and got a heat mat for the seedlings, and they have really sprung up. So all of these big ones over here are big tomato plants, and I've got one chive that is really going. The habanero is poking out, and a bunch of the other little plants are getting started. I really didn't expect the seedlings to already be ready to go, but they're gonna have to get planted today since their roots are coming out of the bottom. And over here, a little less dramatic, but we've got some romaine that's ready to go. The spinach hasn't sprouted yet, but honestly, I'm not worried about it. It's a little slower than the romaine. Okay, so level 3 is the Kratky setup. So the peppers have already pretty much reached the light again. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with these jalapeno plants. I definitely need to feed this one today. It went through its reservoir really quickly. There's pretty much nothing left, and I've noticed a couple of these leaves are a little wilty, so that's gonna get fed. Everything else is doing fairly well. I moved one of the basils up to a big pickle jar, 2 liter, and I'm gonna move this basil here to a 2 liter jar as soon as we finish the pickles in the fridge. The little tomato seedlings, okay, so real honest here, didn't really know what I was doing with cloning plants, so I only have 2 possible successful plants. This one over here, which definitely has roots poking through the Jiffy pellet, a little one right there, and this one, which had the beginnings of roots. Nothing's poking through the pellet yet when I put it in the Jiffy pod, so I definitely should have put them in the peat pellets much sooner. I'm pretty sure the rest of these plants are gonna keel over, but I'm gonna give them a couple of days to really die. The tomatoes are doing really, really well. So let's see if you can see them. We have a bunch of baby tomatoes starting already. There's one right there. We've got 4 going on. We've got like 2 or 3 on this plant, 1 on this one. Nothing on this one yet, but it is a little younger than the other plants, so I'm not worried. And I've just got some extra nutrient solution for the tomatoes here. I made a wee bit too much, and I'm just gonna save it. so down here we have the lettuce and the Swiss chard. So last week, you remember 2 huge lettuce plants right here. What happened was they bolted, so they went into reproductive mode, which makes them taste honestly just awful. So they went into the compost, and now we know not to let them get that old. We're gonna make probably a salad out of this butter crunch today and tomorrow. We cut this Swiss chard and had it for dinner yesterday because honestly it got too big and was just falling over. Probably gonna cut this one and eat it sometime next week, and then these are gonna grow back. I was super excited to find that this little Swiss chard right back here is kind of an orange colored one. I got a pack of rainbow chard, and so far I pretty much just picked the pink chard seeds and didn't see any yellow or orange ones, but we got a little orange one coming up in the back. Also, before I forget, I managed not to kill the dill and the cilantro that were in clear jars last week. They seem to be fine. I may have to start drying some of the dill soon. I just don't think I'm gonna cook with it as quickly as the plant would want me to. Okay, so I'm gonna be putting the little tomato seedlings into jars with seedling strength nutrients, Yanette cups, and some soaked LECA or Hydroton. A lot of people don't want to soak it for the full 24 hours. A lot of gardeners have had success with just soaking it for 2 hours, but I like to just hedge my bets and soak it for the full 24. So setting up a Kratky pot, really easy. You're gonna take your net cup, you're gonna put a wee bit, just like cover that bottom layer with the Hydroton. You get your plant, and you can see that there's a little root coming at the bottom. You're gonna pop it on top, and then just add enough of the clay pellets to stabilize it. When I first started out, I made the mistake of having the wool really high instead of really low in the cup, and that just honestly makes the plants a little bit unstable. So you can see with a couple of the plants, like the dill in particular, it doesn't quite have the stability that I want it to. And by putting them a little lower in the cups, I've learned I can get a lot more stability. And so I'm just gonna put enough clay pellets around it to stabilize the plant, and then I'm gonna refill a little bit later. Like when the plant gets a little bigger, I'll just keep going. And then in here, I'm gonna fill this pretty much almost all the way to the top. You can just use an empty cup, sort of gauge how far I filled it. And this is pretty much the only time I'm gonna be filling this jar that high, because I do really need it to touch, yeah, that's fine, the Hydroton and the Rockwool now because the root is so small. But later on, there's gonna need to be room here in this jar for air and the air roots. So this is the only time you're gonna fill it up this high. Okay, so for us to make some sprouts, we're gonna have to start by rehydrating this brick of coconut core. And basically we're just gonna do that in a big tray with some water, and the coconut core is going to expand and become kind of fluffy soil alternative. Okay, it's been about a half hour and the coconut core is all soaked. Basically, you know it's ready to go when you can squeeze it and it mostly holds its shape like that. So I'm going to squeeze it out and load up this microgreens container. It's got the same container that's right here, but also a liner at the top with some holes for some drainage. So that's going to be what I do next. Then we're going to do the microgreens, and I've got some peat pellets soaking here for some radishes and some green peppers. Okay, so I've sprinkled about 2 tablespoons worth of seeds on the big one and like about a tablespoon worth of broccoli brassica blend microgreens on both of these trays, and now they're gonna get covered and go up. All right, so I watched some YouTube and basically the internet was like, cut your pepper in half, dislodge the seeds from the pepper, check to see if any of them are brown or black. None of them appear to be, which is great. They should be kind of like plump looking, and you're good to go. So what I'm gonna do is put 2 rows of green peppers in these peat pods, about probably 3 seeds each. For funsies, I'm gonna try these California Wonder peppers that have not worked for me in the past in these peat pods. I tried them in Rockwool earlier and it didn't work, but I'm curious to see if it'll work in peat. And in the end, we're gonna start some sparkler white tip heirloom radishes. And these are really quick to grow, so I wanna just start a couple, let them grow a little bit, and then start a couple more, just so we don't have like 36 radishes all at once. Okay, so that's it for the garden update. We've got the microgreens in darkness on the top shelf for the first couple days. Lots of new seedlings started and moved. We've got all the new baby plants down here. We're soaking some more clay, and I blame the cats. And we're gonna eat a lot of this lettuce today. So I'll see you in about a week and we'll see what has grown and progressed.